Hey, what's up? It's Ernie. Joining me right here, well, this way, I guess. JP Saxe, singer, artist, songwriter. I see you're walking right now, man. Where are you?
Yeah, man, thank you for having me. I just left protests in West Hollywood. Originally, I loved the idea of talking with you from the protests, but I realized there was no chance that either of us were going to hear one another. So, walking back to the car.
Yeah, well, I appreciate you taking the time, man. I mean, like one of the things that we talked about before we started the live was, you know, you're out there like really making change in the world. Tell me about the things that you saw, what your experience was being out there on the in the protest.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's really moving. It's a powerful thing to see a huge group of people, a very diverse group of people, all unified around the same idea, which is that regardless of the color of your skin, you should be safe in America, and you should especially be safe from the police.
Yeah.
And the police should not be a racist entity in this country. So it's beautiful to see a lot of people coming together and very loudly shouting that idea.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, so like, have you when you're out there and you feel that energy, like, is there any kind of inspiration what's going through your mind? I guess while you're doing all this stuff.
I mean, a lot of things, man. To be honest, like it's it's an it's a really inspiring environment to be in. I mean, one of the things I was thinking as we walked away from the protest, and I just saw like the extent of how big it was. Is it's a nice metaphor for how even being the smallest part of an important conversation is still valid.
Yeah,
Um, and yeah, I mean, it's just like anyone who saw any of those videos, like the humanity in you is going to go like, that's messed up.
hmm
And
hmm
I think it's something that, if you're black in America, you've known for a really long time. And if you're not, it's maybe something you haven't known for a really long time. But regardless of when you figured that out, I think it's important to do your part to figure out how it changes.
Yeah. So one of the things that kind of keeps coming up is, yeah, we're protesting. Yeah, and I was actually just kind of, feeling inspired and renewed, and hoping humanity is starting to be restored. But I was just, and don't ask me why I was doing this, but I was doing this. I was reading, the First Amendment to the Constitution, and it says Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press or the right of people to peaceably assemble and to
Mm,
petition the government for a redress of grievances.
mm.
Like,
Yeah,
when you read that and you understand kind of where you were, where so many young people are today in cities all across America, like, I don't understand how you can't have hope that we're creating a better future for, the generations to come.
yeah. I mean, being idealistic about what this country is based on, it is fighting to make it better. And
Hmm.
that's what all these people are out here doing. They're saying, this is just not okay, and it has to stop now. Um,
Yeah.
and it and it's powerful to see that many people making that statement. And I think all of us just need to make all of us need to commit to moving forward from the black squares of yesterday to a meaningful progress in the way the criminal justice system unequally treats people of color.
Right. So if you can't figure it out, we're talking to JP Saxe right now. His top of his face is covered in the mask, but he's joining us
What
from
up?
There. What's up, JP? Safety first, man. Safety first. But he's joining us from Los Angeles, where he just left a protest, walking back to the car. So, talking about your song, uh, I think, and I told you this before, the hallmark of a great song is that no matter what point you're going through in your life or what's happening in the world around you, the song still makes sense. The song is still relevant. You originally wrote the song for an earthquake, but do you feel like it has meaning right now, especially?
Sure. I mean, when we first wrote the song, we were talking about It's funny. I'm just as we're walking back, the protest is coming towards us. I don't know if you can
Oh,
see that.
wow. Well, where are you guys? You're on the
So
corner of what?
we're on the corner of Sunset and Fairfax. So we
Oh,
might
all
just
right.
stumble our way back into the protest because maybe they're just walking back to the car with us. But to answer your question, when we first wrote the song, we were talking about hypothetical catastrophe, making love feel bigger than everything else. And now that catastrophe doesn't seem so hypothetical. So I think that's why it's resonating right now. It's a song about putting love before everything else, and I think that's why it feels close to people, and I'm happy for it to have that meaning.
Yeah, for sure. Because obviously, like, how long ago did you write the song? Like a year ago?
We wrote it in July of last year. It came out in October.
Uh-huh. And obviously, like the pandemic, what's happening right now with all the protests, like none of this was sort of in the realm of thoughts of what you guys were going through and what was happening in your life. So to look at it now, like a year and a half later, do you sit there and think like, oh my gosh, like this message that we wrote, this thing that we created so long ago, has more meaning to people now than it did when we wrote it? Does that ever go through your mind?
It certainly does. And man, as I said, this is why I walked out of the protest to talk with you, because I knew that if we did it like this, I wouldn't hear shit.
Well, that's okay. Hey, we're just enjoying
Hey,
the
one
view.
second. I'm gonna get.
Just do me a favor. If you can, just describe what's going on around you right now.
Sure. I mean, the protest is walking around the corner of Fairfax and Sunset. We just stepped away from it a few minutes ago, so I guess we shouldn't be surprised that we weren't too far. It's powerful. It's peaceful. It's a lot of diverse, united voices. It's super inspiring. Like, I'm here with some friends, and we've had chills multiple times being a part of this. Just seeing people really passionately speaking their voices, it feeling really personal to everyone, and I think it's been a beautiful thing.
So what made you originally want to go out there in the first place?
We were watching, my girlfriend and I were watching 13th on Netflix, Ava DuVernay's documentary, and we literally paused halfway through the documentary being like, all right, we need to learn about this, but also, like, there are protests going on right now. Let's get out there.
Yeah.
So we paused the documentary halfway through. We texted some friends and we met up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's amazing, man. Like I think just just seeing the overwhelming response that's kind of happening in our country right now, like it's just I'm in awe, of everybody going out there and doing what they need to do to make a difference and change the course of the country.
Yeah, I mean, it really is incredibly inspiring to see how powerful a group of united voices can be. And I have to have hope that, like, this is a breaking point in the reconstruction of the American criminal justice system, because it's been broken since its inception. It was, I mean, and many people would argue, and I would agree with them, that it's not broken. It was built to oppress Black people. So
Right.
it's empowering, it's inspiring to be a part of a very large group of people who've decided that that's messed up and that needs to change now.
So, like, one of the things that we've been talking about a lot on the air, at least here in San Antonio, is the fact that we seem to have gotten away from this, love thy neighbor, listen to each other. Listen, you don't have to agree with everybody. You don't have to agree with everything. Just listen and empathize. And I feel like it's become more about right and wrong. Right being you believe what I believe, wrong being you believe what I don't believe, than just listening to each other and empathizing. Is that something that you're hearing a lot these days?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's hard. It's hard to be a part of these conversations. They're difficult conversations. They're uncomfortable.
Yeah, for sure.
But a conversation being complicated doesn't make it invalid.
Mm-hmm.
And I think sometimes it's easier to just, like, it's easier to paint in clear cut terms, but to, like, really dive in and try and understand something is where is where it gets harder, but also where it gets more meaningful.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So were you when you guys released your song? You know, what, a year ago, year and a half ago? Um, Normally, like, in the course of, I guess, when you think about the life cycle of music, right? A song doesn't go away, come back. You know, that just normally doesn't happen. So your song seems to have never really gone away because, you know, there are because of the central theme of the song, like you say, is love. Are
Yeah.
you like, what does that mean to you as a creator and a songwriter to have something that means something to people like that right now?
You know, my whole life as an artist, I didn't want to just I didn't want to just make songs to be a successful artist. It was never about that. Like I think, you know, before you dedicate your life to getting millions of people to hear something you have made, it's important to know why you want them to hear that thing you have made.
Right.
You know, beyond the ego of it. And
Mm,
and I always wanted to make music that came from a sincere place, that came from an honest place, and that felt like what it was like to be me. Because I knew if I could get close to my own humanity in these songs, then it would feel close to others when they heard it. So for me, like, one of the most encouraging elements of this song, and there's certainly been a lot of emotions attached to this song, but one of the
right.
encouraging elements is this song is as sincere as any I've ever written. It's as honest as any I've ever written, and it's exactly the kind of music I want to build my career on. And the fact that it's what's in many ways started my career and introduced me to the majority of my audience has just been like a real encouragement to keep making the kind of music I believe in.
Right. All right. Well, you can't tell this dude walking down the street in a mask. This is JP Saxe, joining us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch Live. We're on right now. If you got a question for him, or if you want to talk to him about the protests or what's going on in America, drop it in the comments below. We'll get to those here a little bit later on. As you're talking about, you know, songwriting and art and things of that nature, what do you have to grapple with kind of internally with yourself to get these feelings to kind of come out? You know, what are you dealing with internally, you know, to be vulnerable, I guess, because the best songs are always the most honest ones, right?
Yeah.
How
I
do
mean,
you make yourself do that?
what vulnerability means to me has been a very progressing thing over the last 10 years of my life. Because being vulnerable is the most powerful tool. It's being vulnerable that allows me to connect with an audience. That it's what I'm applauded for. So it feels very powerful. And I think, although as an artist that's a little bit more clear, it's a little bit easier to see the direct correlation between vulnerability and power. I think that's true for everybody. I think it's embracing the things that make you human, the things that maybe you're even a little bit shy about. That in owning, you know, you find your confidence, you find your charisma, and you find the things that like open up life for you.
Yeah, but there is that, I guess, that cycle kind of at the beginning, right, where you doubt yourself for a long time. Can I do
Sure,
this? Do I really want to go
it's
there?
it's scary to tell the truth about yourself because if people rejecting it, they're rejecting who you are. But I it also means if they're celebrating you, they're celebrating you for who you are.
Right,
Um,
right.
and to me, it's like if I'm not being honest in these songs, then I'm getting up on stage every night, and I'm representing something that I'm not, and that seems
Hmm.
like it would just mess with my sense of self, and honestly, just like my mental health. I think that would be bad for me overall.
Yeah. So what, you know, I guess as you're kind of going through this process, probably similar to, like, you know, figuring out if you're going to go out there and protest today, like what goes through, you know, do you ask people, you know, like you mentioned earlier, you're like, hey, you know, you're with your girlfriend, right? Like, let's go out here, guys. Let's finish. Let's not sit here and watch Netflix. Let's go out there and be the change. You know, are there people in your life that you know, talk to about that you've had honest conversations with that maybe didn't tell you, you know, how great you or were honest about kind of what their perception was of you?
Um, I mean, one amongst many things that motivated me to be here and to be involved in this conversation, there's a lot of elements of it. But one of them is working in music means I am building a career based on generations of Black culture.
Right.
I studied jazz. You know, my first mentors in songwriting were Babyface and Tony Dixon and J.Q. Smith,
Yeah.
Christopher Dick Tynes. Like, I was brought up. We'll put it this way. I got to Los Angeles. I'm from Canada. I got to Los Angeles when I was 19. And it was Black people in Black communities that made me feel safe in America, that welcomed me, both in the culture of the music and just in the people that I was surrounded by and mentored by. So I've participated in Black culture through music for my entire career. So for me to choose to not participate when it's a little bit harder, when it's a little bit more complicated, would be it would be wrong.
For sure. Well, so what other kind of stuff did you listen to when you were younger? By the way, if you haven't figured out, if you're just joining us in, I see we got a lot of viewers kind of coming in now. This is JP Saxe. He's got a face mask on because he's walking around the streets of Los Angeles, coming from a protest. We might actually probably run into the protest again. But what other artists did you start to that were you listening to when you were a kid growing up in Canada?
Yeah, I mean, as like a 14, 15-year-old, it was a lot of jazz. It was like Oscar Peterson, Keith Jarrett, and then it was the Beatles, it was Carole King, it was Stevie Wonder. And then when I was like 17, 18 and discovered Lauryn Hill and D'Angelo, that was a real game changer for me.
Oh man. Oh, favorite Lauryn Hill song. Go ahead. No. Hang on. Favorite song from the Miseducation of Lauryn Hill.
Yeah, Tell Him. It's the hidden track at the very end.
Hey, do me a favor. I think you got your pinky on your mic there.
Oh, my favorite track of Miseducation is Tell Him. It's the hidden track at the very end of the album.
Oh man. I mean, but that's one of those albums though that you can choose any song and there's no wrong answer.
Yeah,
right?
Or like Nothing Even Matters.
Oh God, so good.
So good.
So where are you guys walking to right now? I mean, I guess you're walking back to the car.
We're walking back to the car. I think we're getting reasonably close. We got about an hour away from the car. I didn't realize we had walked quite that far.
But that's what happens when you kind of get wrapped up and you're sort of in the moment right now. When you're in the protest today, obviously, yes, you're in awe with, being surrounded and hearing the one collective voice of the group of people. Is this an experience that you take with you sort of in your daily life, things that you've learned, and maybe write another song about it?
I never really know what my songs are going to be about because they all come from journals. So I'll just write in my journals, and then if something pops out to me as like, that feels like a verse or that feels like a chorus, that's kind of where they come from. But it's rare that I'm like, you know what, I have this subject I want to write a song about. Usually it's just kind of going about my life, writing, and then seeing what jumps out at me as a song.
Right.
So I don't know.
All right, man. Well, I mean, you never know. Like, inspiration strikes everywhere. You were just in probably, one of the most inspirational places that you can be right now, surrounded by peers, like-minded peers who are fighting for change. Like, I don't know, man. I feel like I feel like some kind of art. I mean, I guess, and we're really starting to see art kind of come out in all different places at all different times. Is there any message that you have for people, kind of as we wrap this up, of what can they do? What should they do? What should we be focused on right now as a community, as a country, as humans?
Yeah, I mean, I would say first, just make an effort to learn. If you don't understand exactly what this is about, that's okay. Take it as an opportunity, as an invitation to learn some things. There's a lot of great documentaries you can watch. We were just watching 13th. I would recommend that one. Or When They See Us, or Just Mercy. Like, look for reading materials. And then after that, or while you were doing that, there's certainly lots of places to donate to, different freedom funds, different bail funds. There's different emails that you can send. There's a really easy resource on ActBlue where you can donate to different bail funds all at once. You can sign petitions all at once, and you can send emails to police departments all at once. So that's what I would welcome people to do. Just like dip your foot in. If you don't know exactly where to start, just make one step and then see where it goes.
Yeah. So how are you feeling now? Like after being in the protest that you're in today, like how are you feeling now about? I mean, there are a lot of people out there that, you know, I'm losing hope in the world. I don't know about humanity. We're losing our country, kind of thing. You know, how are you feeling now about the state of the world, I guess?
I mean, I'm an optimist to a fault.
Same.
Because I just think it's more productive. Whether my idealism is real or not, it inspires me to work towards that idealistic world. And if I was a pessimist, I'm worried there's some, you know, you can just, I don't know, it doesn't seem as productive. So
Yeah.
maybe it's hopeless, but I'm choosing optimism anyway.
Yeah, same. I believe in the inherent nature of people, that everyone is good. It's like that Luke Bryan song, most people are good, you know?
And you know what? Protests like this definitely encourage that optimism, because this is a lot of people coming together and very powerfully asking a system to change that hasn't in a very long time.
Right. Cool, man. Well, we appreciate you taking the time. Be safe out there. Keep wearing that mask, and we appreciate you, JP. Thank you for everything that you're doing, and the song is great, man.
Thank you so much for talking with me, man. I'm sorry I was late. I appreciate you being cool with the circumstances.
No, all good. You're out there changing the world, brother. Have a good one, man.
Thank you. See ya.
All right, later. There it is, JP Saxe wrapping things up. Dude, good job to him, man. Good job. Like being out there in the streets of Los Angeles, protesting with a huge group of people, peacefully protesting with a huge group of people. I want to thank him for hanging out and joining us. Hope you enjoyed the convo. We'll talk to you again soon. Bye.